Let's now have a look at how we can create a sales price list for one customer. So I will go to customers and let's take customer 10,000 as an example. And before going to the customer card, let's click on Navigate Sales Price Lists. So from this page, I can create a new one. But you see that there's already the default price list, which is displayed here. And that's of course because the default price list is for all customers. So this means that each customer has the default price list. Now let's return to the customer list and click once more on Navigate, and let's go to the sales prices. Now currently this page is empty, and that's because this customer doesn't have any specific sales prices yet. So once I start creating prices specifically for this customer, you will see lines appearing on this page. Okay, let's open the customer card because there are a few important fields that we need to check. So here on the Invoicing Fast tab, under Prices and Discounts, you can see that there's the price calculation method. So I can select blank or lowest price. Now in this case, this doesn't make a difference because in the base application, you can only use lowest price, and lowest price is already set up in the sales and receivables setup. And this means that for customers, you can just leave the field blank and it will automatically use lowest price. Then there's the customer price group, which I will come back to a bit later, and the customer discount group. Now let's set up a price list for this customer. So I will go to Navigate and go to the sales price lists. And I will create a new one. So I will click here on New, and I will use the number series to assign the code. So the next number. Description, chairs for 10,000. Okay, so chairs for customer 10,000 because this customer can get special prices or discounts if you want if he purchases chairs. So because we opened the price list or created a new price list from customer 10,000, it's all automatically filtered here. Then there's a price and discount, which we already looked at, and currently the status is draft, which is fine. Okay, so I would like to insert all chair items. So Kronos has a few items, so a few chairs in its product range, and I would like to insert all of them. So let's use the suggest lines function to insert lines. And like I just said, I only would like to insert chair items. So, and that's something I will achieve by using a product filter. So the product type is item, so that's fine. Then I will go to the product filter page, and here you can specify item filters. So in this case, I will filter the description because all these items contain the word chair. So I will select description, then I will enter my filter like this, and I will click on OK. So here you can see now the filter. Then the minimum quantity. So the customer needs to buy at least 10 chairs to get a special price. And let's keep it simple for this first example. So the price is the unit price multiplied with 0.9. And then the rounding method, I already created one to round to whole numbers. And I will select this one. There we go. Next, I will click on OK. And you can now see all chair items. So the Paris chair, the London chair, and so on. You can also see the minimum quantity of 10. And then the new unit price. So this is the unit price on the item card multiplied with 0.9. Now, there are a couple of other conditions that we can set. So for example, the starting date and the ending date, because that's also something that companies want to do quite often, because these special prices are not valid forever, maybe only for a month or a year. So I can enter a starting date, and assume that this is a price only valid in the month of April. So the starting date is April. So do you want to update? Yes. and the ending date is April 30. The same here, I would like to update. You can of course also enter these fields before you insert lines, but you don't have to. So you can also do this afterwards and have the program update the lines. Okay, so now these prices are valid in the month of April. And if you want, you can even add more conditions. So besides conditions like the variant code or the currency, you can also set discounts. And so maybe some of these items or the customer on top of the special price could get a line discount. Now, if you click here on the line discount field, you will see that this is non-editable, so I cannot enter the discount. And at first sight, it may seem that the line discount is unavailable for this price list, but that's not the case. The reason that it's not editable is because here in the defines column, we see the price option. So which means that you can set prices, but not discounts. So if I click here and if I choose price and discounts, there we go, you will now see that this field becomes editable. And so for example, I could give the customer on top of the special price a 10% discount. So if you want to add discounts, that's possible, but here in the defines field, you should then select price and discount or only discount. Okay. Now another thing that could be interesting is to make exceptions in the conditions for each line here. Because now all these lines have the same starting date and ending date. But maybe for some items you would like to allow a longer period, maybe April and May, or the second quarter, April, May and June. So that's perfectly possible, but what you need to do is the following. So first of all, click on Show More. So and what you see here is that Allow Updating Defaults is not enabled, which means that the defaults, like the starting date and the ending date, cannot be updated for the lines. But now if I select the field, you will see that a couple of additional columns appear, like the starting date and the ending date. And now for each individual line, I can make exceptions. So like I just said, maybe for the second item, instead of only the month of April, I would like to set a full quarter. So until June 30, you see? So now there's an exception. So I have updated the header defaults on the lines. And that's something that you can do by clicking here on Show More and then allow updating defaults. Now you have to pay attention, because once the field is enabled and your sales price list contains lines, you cannot disable it anymore. So if I try to disable it, I will get an error telling me that there are lines in my sales price lists. Let me click on refresh. So that's something that you might have to pay attention to. But again, it's perfectly possible to specify specific criteria for each individual line by Allow Updating Defaults. So and this is now my price list for customer 10,000. Now, before this price list will be used for customer 10,000, we first need to change the status from draft to active, of course. So let me click here, let's select active, and there we go. So now this is an active price list for customer 10,000 with the conditions that we just configured. Now, if I return to the previous page, you can now see that this customer 10,000, has two price lists. So the default one, which was already there, and then also chairs for 10,000. And if I now click here on sales prices, let me do this. There we go. So sales prices. You can now see the sales prices for this customer. So like I said before, once you create specific prices for a customer, they will appear in the sales prices page, like you can see here. Now, what we did for one customer is of course also possible for a group of customers, and that's something that we will look at in the following unit.